Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's solemn episode. On May 26, 2025, we've lost some extraordinary American legends whose impact will forever resonate. In the last 24 hours, we mourn the passing of iconic figures who shaped our culture and history. Today, we pay heartfelt tribute to their remarkable legacies, celebrating their contributions and the inspiration they leave behind. Please join us in honoring their memory. If this resonates with you, kindly like, support, and subscribe to our channel for more meaningful content. Let's remember these legends together. Christophe Clement. What does it take to become a legend in horse racing, a sport where every second counts and every decision can make or break a champion? Christophe Clement, a French-born trainer who took the American racing world by storm, answered that question with a career that spanned decades and produced some of the sport's greatest moments. From a stunning Belmont Stakes win to whispers about his secretive methods, his story is one of triumph, mystery, and a legacy that still sparks debate. Let's dive into the life of a man who turned horses into champions and left a mark nobody can ignore. Born in France in 1965, Christophe Clement grew up surrounded by the thundering hooves of thoroughbreds. His father, Miguel, was a top trainer, and young Christophe soaked up every lesson from the stables. By his teens, he was already working with Alec Head, a legend in French racing, and later joined Luca Cumani in England. This wasn't just a kid following in his dad's footsteps, it was a masterclass in global horse training. Christophe learned discipline, precision, and the art of spotting a champion. But the real test was yet to come, and it wasn't in Europe. When Christophe arrived in the US in the late 1980s, he was a nobody in a cutthroat industry. He studied under Hall of Fame trainer Shug McGaughey, sharpening his skills, but breaking through wasn't easy. In 1991, he saddled his first horse, Spectaculaire, at Belmont Park, and it won. That victory was no fluke, it was the spark of something massive. Christophe faced skepticism as an outsider, but he let his results do the talking. And what happened next would prove he was here to stay. The 1990s and early 2000s saw Christophe's star rise fast. Horses like Trampoline, Voodoo Dancer, and Forbidden Apple racked up graded stakes wins across the country. His stables became a powerhouse, with over 250 graded stakes victories and more than $180 million in purses by 2025. He had a knack for turning underdogs into stars, like England's legend, who stunned the racing world by winning the Beverly D Stakes in 2001. Each win built his reputation, but Christophe wasn't chasing fame, he was chasing perfection. And something bigger was coming. Enter Joe Ponti, the horse that defined an era. By 2010, Christophe had already proven he could compete with the best, but Joe Ponti took it to another level. The colt swept major races, earning Eclipse Awards in 2010 and 2011 as the top turf male in the US. Fans still talk about those performances, with some calling Joe Ponti one of the greatest turf horses ever. Christophe's training was meticulous, blending European finesse with American grit. But behind the trophies, there were whispers about how he got such results, and those rumors only grew louder. In 2014, Christophe delivered his career-defining moment, the Belmont Stakes. His horse Tonalist charged to victory, denying California Chrome the Triple Crown and cementing Christophe's place among the elite. That win wasn't just about one race, it was a statement. Tonalist went on to claim the Jockey Club Gold Cup twice, and Christophe's name became synonymous with big stage success. Fans on platforms like X still debate that race, with some saying Christophe's strategy was pure genius. But not everyone was convinced his methods were straightforward, and speculation started to swirl. Fast forward to 2021, and Christophe was still making waves. His filly Pizza Bianca stormed to victory in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf at Del Mar, proving he could still produce champions 3 decades into his career. But online, fans were buzzing about more than just wins. Some claimed Christophe used unorthodox training techniques, blending cutting-edge science with old-school instincts. Posts on X have speculated about everything from his diet plans for horses to rumored supplements, though nothing's been proven. What's clear is that his private nature only fueled the intrigue, keeping everyone guessing about what went on in his stables. Christophe's personal life was as guarded as his training methods. Married to Valerie, with a son, Miguel, and a daughter, Charlotte, he kept his family out of the spotlight. He was known for quiet acts of kindness, like supporting local charities, but he never boasted about it. In early 2025, tragedy struck when Christophe lost his battle with uveal melanoma at just 59. The racing world was stunned. Fans flooded social media with tributes, but some speculated his health struggles had quietly affected his later years, pointing to fewer high-profile wins. These claims remain unverified, but they've added a layer of mystery to his final chapter. And what happened next would shock everyone. By the time of his passing, Christophe had racked up over 2,500 wins, including his 1,000th in 2008 and 2,000th in 2020. His stables produced legends like Rotherham, who won 5 graded stakes, and Royal Highness, who repeated the Beverly D victory in 2007. Yet, his legacy isn't just numbers, it's the stories. From his early days as an underdog to his triumphs on racing's biggest stages, Christophe Clement redefined what it meant to be a trainer. Fans still argue over his secretive approach, with some calling him a genius and others wondering what he wasn't telling. His death left questions unanswered, and that's exactly what keeps his story alive. So, what made Christophe Clement a legend? Was it his unmatched discipline, his ability to spot a champion, or something deeper that he kept hidden? His 2014 Belmont win and horses like Joe Ponti and Pizza Bianca are proof of his brilliance, but the rumors and mysteries make his story unforgettable. As fans continue to debate his methods and legacy on platforms like X, one thing's certain: Christophe Clement didn't just train horses, he created a legacy that challenges us to wonder what it really takes to win. What do you think his greatest achievement was? Let's keep that conversation going. Marie Tomášová. What happens when a rising star takes a stand that could cost her everything? Marie Tomášová was a Czech actress whose talent lit up the National Theatre in Prague, but her bold defiance against a brutal regime changed her life forever. Today, we're diving into her incredible story, one of passion, rebellion, and resilience that's still sparking whispers and speculation years later. Let's uncover the journey of a woman who refused to be silenced. Marie Tomášová's story starts in Dobrovice, a small town in Czechoslovakia, where she was born in 1929 to a family that loved culture despite their poverty. Her parents filled her world with literature and music, planting the seeds for a life on stage. After World War II, she chased her dreams to Prague, enrolling at the prestigious theatre faculty of the Academy of Performing Arts, or DAMU. By 1952, she'd graduated and was already landing film roles, but it was the stage that called her loudest. At just 26, she stepped into the spotlight at the National Theatre in Prague, one of the most revered stages in the country. Over the next decade, she brought over 40 roles to life, from classic Shakespeare to modern Czech dramas. Her frequent co-star, Jan Tříska, shared a chemistry with her that left audiences spellbound. Marie wasn't just acting, she was becoming a legend. But something even bigger was brewing behind the scenes. While commanding the stage, Marie met Otomar Kreyer, a visionary theatre director who would become her lifelong partner. Their connection was more than romantic, it was a creative wildfire. In 1965, Kreyer left the National Theatre to start something daring, the Tsar Branu Theatre, or Theatre Beyond the Gate. Marie, along with Tříska, followed him, and together they turned this small stage into a hub of bold, innovative performances. Tsar Branu wasn't just a theatre, it was a rebellion against the stiff, bureaucratic productions of the time. Marie shone as a leading actress, embodying characters with a raw intensity that drew crowds and critics alike. But this golden era was about to face a storm that would change everything. In 1968, Czechoslovakia was simmering with unrest. The Prague Spring promised reform, but the communist regime was tightening its grip. That year, Marie and Crea made a choice that would define their lives. They signed the 2,000 words petition, a manifesto calling for freedom and democracy. It was a fearless act, but it came with a price. The regime didn't take kindly to dissent, and by 1972, they struck hard. Tsar Branu Theatre was shut down, officially for fire regulation violations, but everyone knew the truth: it was political punishment. Marie, one of the country's brightest stars, was effectively banned from performing. Theatres were forbidden to hire her, and her stage went dark. But what happened next would test her spirit in ways no one could have predicted. Forced out of acting, Marie found herself working at Supraphon, a record label, far from the spotlight she'd earned. For nearly 2 decades, she was cut off from the stage, her talent silenced by a regime that feared her voice. Whispers swirled that she and Crea were under surveillance, their every move watched by the secret police. Fans speculated about the toll this exile took, not just on her career, but on her heart. How does someone who lives to perform survive when their passion is stolen? Marie's story during these years is one of quiet resilience, but the scars of being blacklisted lingered. Some say the stress and isolation shaped the struggles she'd face when she finally got a chance to return. In 1989, the Velvet Revolution toppled Czechoslovakia's communist regime, and hope flickered for artists like Marie. In 1990, Crea reopened Tsar Branu Theatre too, and Marie stepped back onto the stage. But nearly 20 years away had taken its toll. Critics noted her performances lacked the fire of her earlier days, and some speculated that the long break, combined with the emotional weight of her ban, made it hard to recapture her former magic. The theatre closed again in 1994, marking the end of her stage career. She took a few small film roles after that, her last in 2000, but the stage, her true home, remained out of reach. Yet, even as her spotlight dimmed, her legacy was far from over. In 2008, Marie received the Thalia Award for Lifetime Achievement in Drama, a moment that brought her story full circle. Accepting the award, she spoke of the stage as a place filled with the most beautiful sounds, a nod to the passion that defined her life. Her work at the National Theatre and Tsar Branu had left an indelible mark on Czech theatre, but some fans argue she's still underappreciated. Online discussions, especially after her passing, point to her as a quiet hero of cultural resistance, overshadowed by figures like Václav Havel, who also fought the regime. Her story raises questions. Why don't we talk more about the women who risked everything for freedom? And what was the true cost of her defiance? On May 25, 2025, Marie Tomášová passed away in Melnik at 96, just a day ago as of this script's writing. Czech media mourned her, with tributes calling her a symbol of resilience. Posts on X echoed this, with some fans speculating that her story deserves a bigger spotlight, especially given her role in the 1968 petition alongside Crea. Others wonder if the regime's punishment robbed her of the global recognition she might have earned. Her death has sparked renewed interest in her life, with rumors swirling about unpublished memoirs or lost recordings from her Supraphon days that could reveal more about her struggles. While these remain unverified, they fuel curiosity about a woman who faced down oppression and kept her dignity intact. Marie Tomášová's life was a testament to the power of art and the cost of standing up for what's right. From her dazzling performances at the National Theatre to her bold defiance in 1968, she lived a story of triumphs and sacrifices. Her ban from the stage wasn't just a career setback, it was a deliberate attempt to erase her voice. Yet, she returned, she persevered, and she earned her place as a Czech theatre icon. As we reflect on her legacy, it's worth asking, who else fought in the shadows, their stories waiting to be told? Marie's journey reminds us that some heroes don't get the spotlight they deserve, but their impact echoes long after the curtain falls. What do you think? Does Marie's story inspire you to dig deeper into the unsung figures of history? Let's keep that conversation going. Peter David, what does it take to turn a green-skinned monster into a cultural icon? Peter David, a name that resonates with comic book fans, didn't just write stories, he redefined what superheroes could be. His life was a roller coaster of triumphs, struggles, and controversies, and today, we're diving into the untold story of a man who left an indelible mark on the pages of comics and the hearts of fans. Let's start at the beginning. Peter David, often just called Pad, burst onto the comic scene in the 1980s with a fresh voice that caught everyone's attention. Born in 1956, he didn't take a straight path to writing. Before picking up a pen, he worked in publishing, but his passion for storytelling led him to Marvel Comics. His big break came with The Incredible Hulk, a book that was struggling to find its footing. David's run, starting in 1987, wasn't just a job, it was a revolution. He turned the Hulk into more than a rampaging beast, blending humor, pop culture, and raw emotion into every issue. Fans couldn't get enough, and soon, the book was a must-read. Comic book resources even called it a mega hit. But what made his take on the Hulk so special? That's where things get personal. David didn't just write about the Hulk's strength, he dug into Bruce Banner's pain. Drawing from a 1985 issue by Bill Mantlo, David explored Banner's childhood trauma, revealing how abuse from his father shaped the Hulk's split personalities. The Green Hulk was rage unleashed, while the Grey Hulk was cunning and streetwise. This wasn't just a comic, it was a deep dive into mental health, identity, and survival. David worked with artists like Todd McFarlane, whose dynamic art brought the Hulk to life, and Gary Frank, whose style added emotional depth. He introduced new characters like the Pantheon and even wrote the debut of the Thunderbolts, a team that became a fan favorite. His 12-year run wasn't just long, it was legendary. But the Hulk was only the start of his journey. Peter David's talent wasn't confined to one character. He jumped between Marvel and DC, leaving his mark on both. He co-created Spider-Man 2099, a futuristic take on the web-slinger that fans still rave about. His run on X Factor brought grit and heart to mutant stories, and his work on Aquaman gave the underwater hero a fresh edge. But not every story had a happy ending. When David left Spider-Man 2099 after 44 issues, it wasn't his choice. He quit in protest after Marvel fired his editor, Joey Cavalieri, and the entire 2099 line was cancelled soon after. It was a bold move, showing David's loyalty and principles. But comics were just one piece of his creative puzzle. Beyond the pages, David's imagination thrived in novels and television. His Star Trek novels, especially the New Frontier series, won over Trekkies with their wit and depth. He wrote scripts for Babylon 5, bringing his signature blend of humor and drama to sci-fi. He even co-created Space Cases for Nickelodeon with Bill Mummy, a show that mixed quirky characters with cosmic adventures. Whether it was comics, books, or TV, David had a knack for weaving real-world issues into his stories, making them resonate with audiences. But as his career soared, his personal life faced challenges that would test his resilience. Life wasn't always kind to Peter David. In 2010, he underwent major back surgery after a herniated disc left him in agony. Just 2 years later, a stroke hit while he was on vacation in Florida. It robbed him of much of his right side mobility and blurred his vision. Yet, David fought back. Through grueling physical therapy, he regained enough strength to bowl again, a passion he shared with his daughter Ariel, and even practiced Tai Chi. Financial struggles added to the burden. After his 1996 divorce from his first wife, Myra, his savings dwindled. By 2017, the IRS demanded $88,000 in unpaid taxes, prompting David to launch a GoFundMe campaign. Fans rallied, raising $68,000, and he turned to Patreon to keep creating. But there was another side to David that sparked heated discussions online. Peter David wasn't one to shy away from speaking his mind, and that made him a polarizing figure. On platforms like X, fans praised his bold storytelling but also debated his outspoken views on social and political issues. Some called him a visionary, others thought he stirred the pot too much. Rumors swirled about his interactions with fans and creators, with some posts on X speculating about behind-the-scenes tensions. It's been said that his blunt style rubbed some the wrong way, but there's no denying it kept people talking. What's clear is that David's voice, whether in comics or online, was impossible to ignore. And as his health took another turn, those conversations only grew louder. In his final years, David's health took a devastating hit. After kidney failure and another series of strokes in 2022, followed by a mild heart attack, he faced an uphill battle. Fans and friends launched another GoFundMe to support him, showing the love he'd earned over decades. Tragically, on May 24, 2025, Peter David passed away at 68. The news sent shockwaves through the comic world. Tributes poured in on X, with creators like Kurt Busiek calling him a storytelling giant, and fans sharing how his Hulk run changed their view of comics. Speculation about his final projects and unfinished stories filled online forums, with some wondering if his health struggles shaped his later work. But what's the true measure of his legacy? Peter David didn't just write comics, he crafted stories that made readers think, feel, and question. From the Hulk's inner demons to Spider-Man 2099's futuristic grit, he showed that superheroes could be more than capes and powers. His battles with health, finances, and controversy only added depth to his story, proving he was as resilient as the characters he wrote. As fans continue to share their memories online, one thing is clear: Peter David's words will echo in comics for years to come. What's the one story of his you'll never forget?